And I think that's with talking to our friends that are also parents. I don't think anybody fully knows what they're doing all the time.
No.
No, it is not possible. That's a great lead into some of the questions I got on TikTok, because one of the questions was, how do you parent when parts are fronting that never wanted to be a parent? And sometimes you just have somebody else take over that role.
That is why April currently does not do a ton of parenting. I think April will definitely step into the role as our son gets a little bit older, but right now, April is not incredibly active.
That's how Natalie and No Name at times tend to be. Natalie especially. She doesn't have that like parents kind of attachment to Kaylin. She like loves him and doesn't want anything bad to happen to him, but she's like, yeah, so I'm not gonna front right now because he's playing a very, very loud YouTube video.
For the 10th time, this YouTube video.
Oh my God, there was some Minecraft song. It's like a 30-second song, and he found a video on YouTube that it's 10 hours straight of this song and turned it on. And I'm like, nope, this is what causes us to fully break. It's been nice. We're done now.
I can fully assure you that the teenagers are still doing the exact same thing, like the 10-hour loop of the 30-second clip. And I'm like, no, I cannot.
How does it not drive them insane?
I don't know. And I recall one of the memories I do have of my childhood is watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit on a loop the entire day and not being sick of it. But at least that's a 2-hour movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So same with us. We had Anthony was like, if he was out and the children were around, like absolutely, but it was like, so what do you need? Okay. Does this satisfy that need? Okay, good. Maybe there's a video game you would like to play now.
Right? No, I swear sometimes they get where like, kids will sometimes get their feelings hurt over like the tiniest thing that you can't even understand. There was one that me and No Name were like, do we just give him a snack? Like, I don't know what to do right now. I can't remember how we got onto the topic, but we were discussing like family members that had passed and all of this. And I'd brought up our grandmother, Kaylin's great grandmother. And Kaylin was just like, she died? And we're like, bro, we went to her funeral. Like, I couldn't understand how this hadn't quite clicked for him. And he's like bawling his eyes out. And I swear for like a solid 30 seconds, we're just like, what? Do you want a snack? Like, I don't know what to do.
Absolutely. Like it's the, if it gets dire enough, we'll switch. But so long as it's just like, are you okay? Okay, you're okay. We're good. Right?
Yeah. And I think that's with talking to our friends that are also parents. I don't think anybody fully knows what they're doing all the time.
No.
It is not possible. No, like kids are so much. How do you try to keep your trauma responses out of your parenting and your kids' lives? They say they're nervous about being a parent.
Education. I think like on our part, we have the privilege of having been in treatment for roughly a decade prior to even receiving our diagnosis. So in terms of like distress tolerance and stuff like that, we tend to be pretty good, not always perfect, have, struggles here and there. However, if we have an extreme startle response, first of all, which at this point, Kaylin just thinks is funny, which is fine. Like, he scared the shit out of us in the bathroom the other day, walked up behind us, and I think like our soul left our body for a second. But if we do have any type of trauma response, once we're able to come back down real quick from it, it's educating our kid just so that he understands what happened. We don't have to be like, well, this horrible thing happened to me as a child, and this is why I do this now. But it's just like explaining in terms that he can understand of like anxiety. I was scared, that kind of stuff. And that helps reassure him just because that way he understands what happened.
The main one I'm thinking about for our system is loud, chaotic noises, like
That's
multiple going on at one time. It's very, very overwhelming for us, and we get overstimulated very, very easily. So we've had to explain, like, when this is going on, if you want to have a conversation or you want to change things have to quiet down, and then we can have this conversation. We'll play and we'll do whatever you want when this stuff's going on, but if you want to actually like get some stuff done, we got to quiet down a little bit. And just if there is trauma responses or anything going on, we are privileged enough to have a spouse who can step in a lot of the time, like, hey, we need a minute so we can recover, and then we're going to come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely helpful with the being able to tag team somebody. Our noise canceling headphones. Oh my gosh. And I'll let them know, because mine are older. I'm like, hey, I'm putting in my headphones, so if you need me, you're gonna have to like tap me because I won't hear you. But it's so helpful. One of our big ones, though, that actually the kids did, it was a little hard on them, is we have a lot of holiday triggers. And so my therapist had suggested that we just completely change up like how we do the holidays and holiday decorations. And so we told the boys going in, okay, so mom had like bad stuff happen, and it was around this time of year, and so that's why this time of year she's always sad. So to try and help that so that we can all have a happy Christmas, we're gonna like change how we do decorations and how we do this. And that was hard for them. They were like, oh, but we want these kind of decorations. So what we did, along with the like education and the, just being able to talk to them on their level, was for their room, we bought them their own decorations. So we're like, okay, you get your decorations for your room for however you want it, but in the main room, this is how we're going to do it so that it's easier for mom. And that was difficult for them, but they were able to like understand at least. And now it's much better, much less triggering. And so kids, they can navigate more than I think most people give them credit for.
Oh, yeah. And they understand a lot more than people. Like, I don't know, like, why people think that kids are so incapable of understanding complex concepts. If you explain to them a complex concept in slightly simpler terms, they get it. It's really wild.
So I am starting up the recording again, and I don't know where it froze or left off.
I don't even remember what I was saying, to be fair.
We all dissociate when we do these things, don't lie.
Right. You were talking about how you can break it down for kids in a way that they understand, that they can understand a lot more than we give them credit for.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, even real small kids, you can be like, oh, well, you know how like it scared you? Like my son, when he saw Finding Nemo for the first time, like he definitely was scary in parts, and be like, you know how that scared you? Well, mom had some stuff that was scary when she was little, and it still kind of scares her now, like when you had trouble falling asleep that night. And they can totally get it.
They
Oh,
can. We also do the Patchwork Quilt. It's a book, children's book about D.I.D. And it's something that we read every once in a while, and we still do.
That's a good one.
So when did you decide to tell your kids, and how did you tell your kids?
Kaylin was 4, I think, roughly 4. And we actually had our therapist come to our place to help explain it to him and our, at the time, stepchildren. And it's just breaking it down into something simple that relates to things they understand in their life. And the way that our therapist helped explain it to them is that Mama had some bad things happen when I was younger that were really, really scary for us. And because of how scary it was, our brain decided to create characters that help run our life to make it easier and more safe. And that was it. And they're like, okay, and moved on with life.
That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't sat down and had that conversation. We've read the book and we've done things like that, and we don't mask. Big part when we got our tattoo, our D.I.D awareness tattoo, is we're done masking. Unless it's like for safety, then yeah, but around our family and friends, we just don't. And I think that I don't know if he fully understands what's going on yet, but he definitely noticed some things. But we're all data, no matter what. At the end of the day, he knows he's protected, he's safe, and he's loved.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
It's something I've noticed online too, is a lot of people think that it's so unstable for a child to live with a parent that has D.I.D. and does he know all of your names and does he blah, blah, blah. I mean, to a degree, yes. And especially he hears, like, when our friends are around that know that we have D.I.D, he'll hear them refer to us as different names. And for him, he's just like, sometimes Mama goes by different names, and that's okay because he just calls us Mama. Every single one of us are Mama. And it's at the end of the day, he is priority above our mental illness.
Yeah.
So, do No Name, like, does he want to be acknowledged as himself? Yes. Does Dakota want to be acknowledged as herself? Yes. But he is an 8-year-old boy. We are all Mama, period. And
I think that's something that's really big, because online we talk about D.I.D online. We talk about, it is from trauma, horrible things. When we go into different aspects of it with adults, we don't go into different aspect of it with kids and teenagers. Like, that's just not what we do. Why are we going to do that in our personal life? I'm not going to sit down with my 5-year-old and go over severe trauma.
right.
Exactly.
It's not. It's he's 5, and people think that we just. I don't understand what they think we're doing.
They get it so confused. Like, they seem to think that people with mental illness cannot understand age appropriate topics. Like,
yeah.
Our son, this has been a hard year for our son and us for what's going on in his life, but also he is the same age that we were when we were getting abused. And I'm not finna sit down when he's having a rough day and be like, I remember when I was 8 and this horrific abuse is going on. And like, it doesn't matter to his life. So it doesn't make sense. And I also notice online that people think that the way that we present our D.I.D online is what we do offline, right? Like, for the day in the life videos, I swear people think that offline, every time someone switches, is like, hi, I'm Dakota. No, we do that for the purpose of educating the general populace online. Like, the A's have hung out with us. When we switch offline, like, if you can tell, good for you. If not, sucks to suck, like.
We're not introducing like, hey buddy, it's Asher now. Hey buddy, it's Art now. Like, we're not doing that. We do that online so people can tell the difference on who's fronting.
Exactly.
But people that hang out with us every day know, like, FP, we've hung out with you enough to, it's not as covert as you think, buddy. Just putting that out there. But it's a thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so our two sons have responded differently with wanting to know. So we didn't want our mental health to like affect them in their teenage years. And so we felt like until it was apparent to them, like it's fine. So both of them were like over 12. So I think Asher was right at 12 or right before 12. And then Jack was, I think, 13. And yeah, like we have switches, but same, we're not out there announcing them. And when we told Jack, he used to say mom geeks D.I.D. because I would talk a lot about D.I.D. in the house. So he was already aware of it and understood it. He just didn't know it applied to us. And so when I sat him down and I was like, so, you know, do you like this is what's going on with me. And I'm gonna go ahead and read the poem because like y'all, it's short and y'all have mentioned, but it says, it's we are mom. I am we, a collection of pieces and parts. We are confident and shy, wounded and healed, but we are all mom. We did not all choose this, choose you. We are overjoyed and fearful, present and hiding, but we are all yours. No matter who I am when you call, we answer. In all our littleness and bigness, hurt and wholeness, mom is here. And I read that to Jack and he was like, that's all I need to know. And that's been it for him. Like was it. That's all he needed to know was that mom was there. Our Asher, he likes to know who's out. And so just the other day, he was like, who's fronting? And Caleb, who is shy, and better now, not as like, you know, he's been through therapy. So like he was out during the day. Caleb was like, what gave it away? I thought I was masking really good. He was like, mom usually asks me all kinds of questions and I wasn't in the mood. And you were just like, hey, buddy, how's your day? And that was it. And I was like, yeah, but wait, that's not how. Who's out? So it's been fun for him to try and notice and then to make the individual connections. And he'll be like, no offense, mom, but Lil is more fun. And like, and so, and it's still, we're all mom, but it'll be specific. Like, no offense, mom, but like Caleb has better ideas. Because when we went camping, Caleb was like, if we took this watermelon and threw it into the fire, would it explode because of the water boiling? Because he's a teenager now. And with the teenage boys, they thought this was the best idea they had ever heard. Ever. So our youngest is like wanting to make like the individual connections, but it's still all mom.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't even, if he knows Caleb's out, it's still mom. He knows, you know, which altar is fronting, but that altar is still, we're still all mom.
I feel like people try to overcomplicate the not complicated parts of this disorder.
Yeah. And I feel like because they know we have a label, they think that we're just like wildly unstable, where we've had more therapy than most people will ever dream of having. Like we have more coping skills than they have even thought of. Oh, did you read a book? I read 5 and have had 10 years of therapy. Welcome to the club.
That's what, like, whenever we get comments that are like, you don't have D.I.D, people with D.I.D can't know they have D.I.D and all this. I'm like, what do you think therapy is for? You think we just go get diagnosed and then your treatment team's just like, ah, damn. Good luck with that.
You had D.I.D, but now that you know, you no longer have D.I.D.
Yeah, you won't remember this. We actually have a skit that we've been writing about that. Let me hand you your diagnosis. You won't remember it by the time you leave my office.
That is on the nose. All right, I've got one last question and then we will wrap up. So they ask, how do you reconnect yourselves and your physical body after pushing through dissociation to deal with your kids? So Like this is, you were triggered, you pushed through to flag, deal with the kids. How do you, well, I would say, how do you self-care after that? But they're wanting to know how you kind of reconnect to your body after all that.
Naps. That's kind of our reset button. If we can go to sleep and wake back up, it's like we'll be a bit better off.
Sleep's a good reset for us as well. We go outside. That's our reset. Like we can get the noise canceling headphones, or we can go outside and just sit in the sunshine. People are like, touch some grass. Yes, let me touch some grass. I'll be fine.
That's why we chain smoke. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go outside. Bye.
In all honesty, being connected to the body is not something a lot of us do any of the time. One of the reasons why I honestly think that we do switch a lot. We switch 30 to 50 times a day, and that's average. It gets worse, is because none of us are ever fully grounded. Have you ever seen the Hulk where he's like, I'm always angry? I'm always dissociated, like at least a little bit.
Yeah.
So worried about being fully grounded. I'm usually worried on the task that I'm doing. I need to take care of somebody, or I need to do this, and less worried about am I fully grounded.
Yeah. Worried about getting the thing done, and then
Worry about
the
everything
next thing.
It's not always the most healthy, but it's effective.
That works.
Well, I super appreciate this. And is there anything that you would like to say? I know you all get comments on your channels as well. Is there anything that you want to say about your experience as a parent with D.I.D?
It's not as complicated as people think it is. I am a single parent, but am I?
Let me think about how I want to word this.
Mhm.
If you have D.I.D, you are not a singlet. You are a system. There are a lot of people involved. Work together. If you want a happy life, you have to work together and you have to get on the same page. Not everybody is going to be happy. Finding a way to make everybody at least content and okay with the situation, and having a set guideline of what is expected. Do people always follow it? No, but having that guideline is something that's good to fall back on.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I would end on echoing, because I've had the big thing I see is singlets being like, how can you do this? And I think what I would say is we're probably more resourced than most people. And for all the systems, lean into the resources. Like, you've got the therapist, you've got the books, there's all the social workers, like all the programs, and they're usually free if you just know where to look. So if you're afraid of bungling it as a parent, one, every parent bungles it. So welcome to the club. That will happen because every parent bungles it. But if you're afraid, just lean into your resources and know that you probably have more at your disposal than most people do going into parenting.
Mhm.
All right, y'all. This has been super fun. Thanks so much.
No problem.
Yeah,
Anytime you want to
thank
collab, just
you.
let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Will do.
Bye.
Bye.